If email sucks, if your inbox is completely out of control, if you just hate doing emails, I'm with you. I am here to tell you it's completely normal, and there are some mindset things and some actions that you can do to improve this. Welcome to the Differently Aligned podcast for neurodivergent business owners. I'm Adina Levy. I'm an autistic ADHDer, business coach, speech therapist, professional educator, and multiple business owner. I support neurodivergent business owners to create businesses that are sustainable, enjoyable, impactful, profitable, and burnout free. I provide safe spaces for you to share with like-minded community who get it, me included. Everyone is welcome here, whatever your neurotype, gender, race, any other intersections, and special, fantastic, unique things that make you, you are welcome here. This podcast is recorded on the Aboriginal lands of the Gadigal and Bidjigal people. I acknowledge the traditional owners, elders past and present, and I extend my respect to any First Nations people who are listening in. Hey there, today we're talking about email management, something that I am traditionally really bad at, but also something I've spent an inordinate amount of time trying to get better at, hack, improve, automate, and shift my processes. So I think I'm very well placed to have this discussion with you about how you can do some things to improve your email world. If email sucks, if your inbox is completely out of control, if you just hate doing emails, I'm with you. I am here to tell you it's completely normal, and there are some mindset things and some actions that you can do to improve this. So the question today actually comes from one of my Neurodivergent Business Collective members. Thank you so much for submitting this question. And she wrote, do you have a systemized approach to managing emails? I use both Gmail interfaced with Microsoft Outlook, which can be messy, and have 7,000 plus emails in my inbox. I hear that and I go, no judgment, just fully get it. I tried a folder system, but I have too many folders. How do you manage your emails? Is there a tool that can help me get this under control? So my answer is going to have a few more questions in it than answers. Or a mix. But what I wanted to share with you is, first of all, completely relate to this. There are so many different individual, small and big reasons why email can be hard for people. So, without having an in-depth one-on-one coaching type conversation, it's hard to know exactly what some of the challenges are. And obviously I'm responding to you and to many other people as well. So I'll have a bunch of ideas. They may not all suit you. And I want you to try and listen out for things that might be an answer for the particular struggle that you think you're facing. I will share some of my own struggles with emails. Is I have this kind of hope and expectation that is quite unrealistic and doesn't really match my reality and how I work. Some things are working better than they used to, and I still struggle. So I have this expectation that I live at inbox zero across all of my inboxes. And that is because I treat my inbox as a to-do list. If something's in my inbox, I have a pretty firm rule that it means something has to be done. Either a decision has to be made, a thing has to be sent, a thing has to be replied to, a different action has to be taken that is, sparked by that email. The email can sometimes stand for the task. Now, I know there are some people out there who are completely against using your inbox as a task list. I'm not here to tell you whether that's right or wrong. You need to decide if that's right for you. It is right for me. Basically, treating what is actually in the inbox part of my email as something needs to be done is a really good starting point, because I generally won't lose things that are essentials unless my emails get out of hand and I have so many things in there that I can't sift through what is urgent, essential, has a deadline, what is optional, what kind of task has to happen next from that email. That's when I really struggle. In fact, I feel absolutely devastated and terrified that I missed an email in my personal inbox. I think it was just yesterday I found it, and I had to pay a bill 2 weeks late. And I'm such a rule-abiding bill payer. I hate being late on bills. And I don't think there's a bad repercussion for it this time. I don't think there's a penalty. I hope not. But it was a big bill and it was an important one, and I paid it 2 weeks late, and I feel so bad. I will say at least it was to a big organization, not a small one. So I didn't stop an individual person from being able to have their groceries on the table, I think. Anyway, I feel bad. I have this hope. Like I said, I see myself as a person with inbox zero, so I'm not really matching my own expectation. Interestingly, I spoke to my cousin recently, and he has an expectation of himself of having maximum 19 emails in his inbox at any one time. He also treats the inboxes like something needs to be done with this. 19, he said, came from some very old 1990s text-based email system where you could see 19 on the screen at that time, and he wanted to always be able to see 19, and he's carried that over. what I had this chat with him about was very interesting. It's like his capacity to uphold that system that he wants matches his hope for the system, which is how he's able to, for so many years, keep that system up. He almost never goes above 19 in his inbox. That was interesting to me, and it was a real awakening to me that my own capacity doesn't match my expectation for myself. I've for years, probably since I've had kids, it's probably been 5.5 years since I've had inbox non-chaos. So that's hard. I'm quite hard on myself about this. But, you need to understand deeply. I guess the whole point is try to understand, what are you expecting of yourself? What exact parts of it are hard? I am not at the bottom of the answer to what exactly is hard, except I know sometimes can just be boring. I also know that jumping into my emails means task switching. So I have found that my afternoon energy is a lot better for that kind of job, because I'm kind of ready to dip in and out of a bunch of different tasks, where I definitely do much better in the morning doing deeper focus and just concentrating on one bigger project. So for example, this morning I was planning and outlining 4 podcast episodes, and here I am recording the 4th one. I'm actually really proud of myself that I batched them, by the way. That's earlier in the day energy for me. Later in the day energy does fit better with emails, but often this kind of comes back to my capacity and my demands. Is I want to do so many big thing projects that by the end of the day, there's no extra time for emails. Sometimes days go by and I haven't really done anything in my emails. I'm always checking and just keeping an eye on things, but I don't always respond. P.S. I'm really sorry if I ever left you hanging on email. One thing I want to tell you is you have permission sometimes to not reply to some emails. I needed to be given that permission about 1.5 years ago. Somebody gave me that permission, and it was I just didn't know. I honestly didn't know that that was a possibility. And I thank that person very much, and it's just changed my life. So there are some emails where I look at them, and rather than say, what reply do I give? I think, do I need to give a reply? And that's pretty groundbreaking. Yeah, that's cool. So just consider that. That's an option. And I want to give you 2 quick fixes that might help you get things under control, depending on, again, which exact challenges you're facing. One is an auto reply. Again, if you're the kind of person that feels like you need a little bit of permission, or you need to feel free to take your time to do those responses, I would encourage you to have an auto response. So I've got an auto responder on my email that says, I might take a few days to get back to you if your email requires a response. I also then have links to some help documentation where people may find their response, and also a link, this is a new update, where people can find, it's a login link. So if they've bought a webinar or a course or a resource from me, they can just tap that and go in. Because sometimes, not too often, but sometimes I do get people saying, I didn't get the welcome email, I don't know how to find my thing. I'll come back to that idea in a moment. The second quick fix that I want to give you is using filters. So I know Gmail can do this. I'm pretty sure Outlook can, and probably many other email providers too, where you can set rules, automations, workflows, things like that. And so you might get, for example, emails that come in from a certain email address, and you know that it's a newsletter that you sign up for. You can tag that. For me, I do this. I tag them as mark as read, and also put a particular tag on them that makes it known to me that it's just a newsletter thing for me to read. Many inboxes also sort them out and sort of put them in promotions tabs and things like that. I like to have a bit more control over my email, so I don't let my Gmail do that. I sort them myself by saying, any email coming from this address, make sure you tag it with, it's like a little book emoji. It's basically for me to read it, and then mark it as unread. And basically it means I can see it's in my inbox, but I don't feel the need to rush to do anything with it. It's not in bold, for example. So think about what kind of rules you could set up that are going to help you at least categorize, tag, maybe give things priority or non-priority automatically as they come in. So the side thought I had earlier when I was talking about sending that login link is connected to this idea is, can you reduce the number of emails that you get? Now, what I mean by this is think about the kind of emails, especially if they're inquiries from customers or clients, or they're customer service type emails. Especially if they happen more than once with any kind of frequency. Think about any other way that that person could have had their question answered without having to email you. So that's one way of thinking about it. Can you provide better documentation on your website or up front when someone's booking, or as soon as they send an inquiry, then they get this short amount of information that will answer some of the questions they might have otherwise sent direct to your inbox. For me, both of my businesses have a lot of transactions where people are getting instant access to things online, like a webinar or the membership, things like that. And so I have a couple of ways that I try to reduce people coming back to me saying, I didn't get my login. And so one is by having the auto response saying, here's the login. I do have the login link on the website. There's also an email that I know gets delivered, I'm going to say 100% of the time, I think, or like 99% of the time is it's an automation, but it goes through the Gmail kind of system rather than through my more like mass email system. And that automation, I have it set up through Zapier, and it sends the person's invoice to them. So as far as I know, everyone or almost everybody who has a transaction through my business get that invoice email. And in that invoice email, I just give them the heads up that if they registered for like a workshop, a webinar, a course, they can expect another welcome email. And if they don't get it, email me. Because sometimes, unfortunately, my emails do go hide in spam and junk and that kind of thing. I wish it didn't, but especially those really important ones like where somebody has actually signed up for the thing and they need that access info. So it does happen from time to time. Since having that little heads up, it's like, go look in your spam and junk folder, and if you still don't find it, then email me. I get very few emails from people compared to the number of transactions for people looking for their login. So that's pretty cool. Those are just a couple of ideas, like how can you reduce the inquiries that you're getting? Where else could you put that information so that people can just come to you for those other things, not the more usual day-to-day kind of questions? Just a couple more ideas you could try if it fits the exact challenges that you're having. Coming back to that idea, if it's repetitive, if somebody's asking you the same thing a couple of times, even more than once, or if you're writing an email and you're like, I think I'm going to use this more than once, save it as a template. Again, almost every email system has some sort of template email option. It might be called something different. And personally, I actually use Help Scout as my email system within my business these days, rather than Gmail. In that system, they're called saved replies, but it's the same thing. They're basically template emails. You click a button and your email pops up there. Use them as much as possible, especially for things you don't want to write. If it's like a debt collection email or, anything like that, make sure that you've saved it as a template. So it's really easy for you to just, you like that emotional labor of, I've got to send this email and I don't want to write it. And it's kind of, nobody wants to hear that kind of message. Just click your template button, done. It also means you can systematize things if you get somebody else helping you in your inbox, which is yet another way to reduce you having to deal with emails. Have someone else help you, a virtual assistant, an admin assistant, have somebody else support you with emails if your email system sucks that much. Or not even the system, it's more just like doing emails. Like for me, I'll never get over it. Like customer service emails, just not my favorite. So that's something that I really want you to consider. If you can even get just a couple of hours a week, have somebody help you with your emails. I might one day do another episode all about how you can kind of train somebody to help you in your email inbox. That could be something. Let me know if that's of interest to you. And the last idea I want to leave you with is to consider whether batching email responses or email inbox time is a good fit for you. Like I said, for me, it works in my afternoon time, like that end of day energy, when my brain can't really pull anything kind of big and coherent together. It's more about like I'm ready to just dive in and do a few bits and pieces. That might be helpful. And you might even set those rules for yourself. You might even put it in your calendar. You might even say like, Monday 3 p.m. is inbox time, and maybe give yourself a real special treat, like allow yourself a fancy snack while you're doing it. Whatever works for you. And if you need extra motivation, I have actually created a custom GPT. Basically, it's like a little corner of ChatGPT, which I've shared with my Neurodivergent Business Collective members. They have access to this very special tool, which basically can add some motivation to the email process. I like to set a 5-minute timer and see how many emails I can smash down. Maybe it's just archiving them, maybe it's saving or forwarding or a quick reply or whatever that is. And it kind of graphs every 5 minutes as you reduce the number of emails in your inbox. And I've also trained it to send a really cute image like celebrating kittens and that kind of thing as a little extra motivation as you work through your emails. It's a little bit silly. It's a little bit fun. It really helps me. It kind of gamifies the email doing process. And so that's something, if you are a Neurodivergent Business Collective member, you get access to that. You literally click a button and it will tell you what it needs from you so that you can run through the email smash process, get your graphs, get your celebratory little cute animals. And so on that note, if you are not a Neurodivergent Business Collective member, I will be opening doors soon. So I would encourage you to join my waitlist. Those on the waitlist get the best offers for entry into the next round as I open up doors to new members. I hope that you'll go check it out. The link is in the show notes. My Neurodivergent Business Collective is full of resources, community support, coaching, encouragement. It is my way of having I can help you, and it's not one-on-one coaching, which is quite limited with me. And it's very, it costs a lot more to get me one-on-one in your brain, in your business. But my Neurodivergent Business Collective members don't just get me, you get each other. We've got Slack channels. We have, events that we can come to. There's not a lot that we do live together, but there are enough things that mean you can get to know each other, get connected. And we do body double sessions if you can make them, which means we turn up on Zoom and we can co-work. We can even work through emails together if that's of use to you. So go and check out the Neurodivergent Business Collective, and keep an eye out for doors opening soon and upcoming announcements as well. With this email question, if you have any follow-up question, you who submitted it or anyone else, the more specific your question is, the more I can kind of dive into like real specific strategies, ideas, etc. So really welcome your questions. My collective members get first priority. So members who submit questions, they get their questions answered. And, second in line will be other people who are not collective members, but you're still really welcome to let me know how can I support you and connect with you and keep you moving into a more aligned business in the future. Chat with me on Instagram. You can find me at neurodivergent.business. I won't say send me an email. You can. It's okay. I won't hate you for it. I really don't. It's not your fault. It's my own problems with email. If you need to send me a line by email, you are welcome to. It might be my VA who gets back to you, and it might be me, but it might just take me a long time. Thank you so much for listening. Get in touch with me on Instagram. You'll find me there, neurodivergent.business. Have a beautiful day.